4, 3, 2, 1. You're live. That's what it says. Let's turn up the volume here. Alrighty. Hey, YouTube. How we doing today? I'm live in my backyard, San Francisco Bay Area. It's a beautiful day. So, let's see if there's anybody on here yet. Looks like I got a question from Vince saying, "Hey, Sean, always great to see you live. I have sentencing coming up. Is it better to do it in person or Zoom hearing? And is there really a difference?" Vince, I think I saw you, one person in the room, and now there's nobody here. So, Vince, I'm going to wait for you to come back on before I answer that so you can hear the answer. That's a good question, though. It's a really good question. So I don't have any viewers in the room yet. That's okay. They come on. And I was going to talk a little bit about PRETRIAL Anonymous today. If you don't know what that is, it's because it hasn't been invented yet until now. So if you guys are familiar with Alcoholics Anonymous and their 12-step program, there's lots of other programs that use those 12 steps, like Gamblers Anonymous, Debtors Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. There's Heroin Anonymous. I heard there's so many. There's Chocolate Addicts Anonymous. There's Caffeine Anonymous. There's a lot of groups, but those 12 steps are designed for living. And a lot of them are out of the Bible, believe it or not. But those 12 steps, if you live your life like those 12 steps, you can actually become a better person. So I kicked around an idea with a friend of mine named Tom. Hopefully he's coming on here in about PRETRIAL Anonymous. It's going to be a support group for viewers like you, probably that are going to prison one day. You need to, it's tough being out there alone. Nobody understands what you're going through, your family, your friends. They don't think you're going to prison. You've been on pretrial a year, 8 months, 2 years, whatever the deal is, and you're out on this bond. Because most people that go to prison go straight from jail to prison. Once in a while, you hear about somebody, getting a $5 million bail or something, and they're out waiting sentencing, but they're out on bail. But in the feds, they put you on pretrial, and you've been indicted already. So you've already been pretty much convicted. You haven't, but you have. And the feds take their sweet time sentencing, and there's all kinds of preliminary hearings and pre-sentence hearings and plea deals and all the stuff that goes on, and co-defendants, and it could take years. It took me 4 years of pretrial. And in the meantime, you got a pretrial officer. That's like a probation officer that'll come and check on you, have you piss in a cup, you check in with them once a month. Some people have it very light supervision. Some people have it very heavy. Some people even have to wear ankle bracelets. But they do allow you to live in your house, go to work, all that stuff. But you're on probation. You haven't even been sentenced yet or convicted, or, you're not technically, you're not guilty yet. But in the feds, you kind of are when you get indicted. And your family and your friends, they just don't think you're going to prison. It's been 2 years. You're going to get probation, if anything. They don't just let you walk around the streets. When you're looking at 5, 10, 20 years in prison, you just don't, you wouldn't be free right now. Quit tripping, guy. Quit tripping. They don't understand. And you're going to prison. So I'm going to come up with PRETRIAL Anonymous, and it's going to be a support group. We're going to start it probably in 2 weeks on Zoom. And you don't have to put your real name. You don't have to do the video, or you just have a picture of anybody. It doesn't have to be you. We'll keep it anonymous, but if you want to show yourself and your name, that's great. So we're going to run it like a 12-step meeting where we're going to have a speaker and discussion. And the speakers, it's going to be somebody that's already been through it. Anybody who's come out of prison would be a great speaker, and they could talk about their experience, their strengths, and their hopes while they were on pretrial. And we can get into what prison is like and all that stuff after, but the PRETRIAL Anonymous is a support group for people that are facing prison. To me, pretrial was harder than going to prison. That was the hardest part. I had 4 years of that. I only did 3 years at the prison camp, and that was easy compared to pretrial. And now I got a few years of probation. I got about a year left out of 3. And yeah, it's easier than pretrial. They were more rough on me on pretrial, believe it or not. So I want to start the support group on Zoom, and we'll probably do it in 2 weeks. And so you guys, I'll have links and all that stuff on the videos. And leave me comments, guys. Call me, text me, email me. Let me know if you want to be part of this group. And we'll meet once a week. We'll figure out a time and a day, and we'll support each other. And in AA, there's these 12 steps, and the first step is in AA, you admit you have a problem with alcohol and your life has become unmanageable. With this pretrial anonymous, we're going to we admitted to ourselves that we're powerless over our criminal charges. Doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty, but you're powerless over those criminal charges, and your life has become unmanageable. And if you can admit that, we can do the rest of the steps. And those 12 steps having to do with getting rid of your character defects and your shortcomings, and making a list of all the people you've harmed, and then making direct amends to those people, trying to make up for it. Has to do with prayer and meditation, and taking personal inventory of yourself, and constantly improving who you are. And the last step is carrying the message to the next person, helping out the next guy, giving it back, paying it forward. That's that last step. And that's what I try to do with my videos. And that's what I want you guys to do. And hopefully, if you can work through these steps, we get this pretrial anonymous thing going. It could be a big thing. It could be a good thing anyways. And it'll be on Zoom, and maybe I'll run it simultaneously with YouTube. And we're going to see how that goes. Hey, Vince, are you in the room? I want to answer your question. I see 3 people here, and I see Troy. Hey, Troy. Troy says, was it hard to get a good night's sleep in there? Not in the camps, Troy. Not really. There's a good night's sleep even in prisons. They have this rule. I think it's in all prisons, at least federal prisons, 10 to 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. That's when the lights go out. Now, the lights go out in your dorm or your cubicle. You can go out in the hallways and the TV rooms. The lights are all, you can stay up till 3 in the morning if you want. But where people sleep, it's quiet time. And you're not allowed to talk. You could maybe whisper, but it's got to be such a low whisper. They don't even want you doing that. So it's called quiet time. It's from 10 to 10. And even in the morning, till 10 a.m. in the morning, because I remember my first couple of days, I got up and I'm opened up my locker, and they're metal lockers and they're loud, and I'm trying to get my shoes on and my pants on and all this stuff, and fumble around. It still kind of was, couldn't see my locker to find my shampoo and my soap and all. Guy comes over to me, he goes, I know you've never been to prison before, but he explained this quiet time for me. He goes, you need to be really, really quiet. Even in the morning, you slowly grab your things, you pick them up, you lay them down slow, you put you do it as quiet as you can. And at nighttime, everybody shuts up. There's some dorms and hallways and stuff where people have to be schooled. And usually the old timers, and when I say old timer, that's a guy who's probably been there at least a year. They'll come up to you politely at first and explain this quiet time thing. So it's really easy to sleep. And in a federal prison camp, you don't have to worry about somebody shanking you in the middle of the night. It's all nonviolent people. There's some that always slip through the cracks that never got caught for their violent nature, but it's nonviolent people in these camps too, not just nonviolent crimes. It's nonviolent people, and best way I could put it. And not that they're all nice guys, but you're safe. You're very safe in a federal prison camp. Even in a low security prison, you are safe. Some of the penitentiaries, I hear stories that they can't take a nap in the daytime because they're afraid somebody will come in and stab them while they're sleeping. And they were really jealous of us campers when they found out that we could take naps in the daytime. At night in the penitentiaries, they have cells and their door gets locked at 10 o'clock. Then they get to sleep. So even there, they get a good night's sleep. Well, they got to worry about their cellie. They got to worry about their cellie. But yes, you can get a good night. I slept my first night there. I slept like a baby. I really did, because it was over. I mean, it was just beginning my sentence, but the nightmare of pretrial, not knowing what I'm going to get, not knowing what I'm facing, and my life over in a ruin. I knew how much time I got. I have a release date, I could breathe. I could, I'm there, and it wasn't like the movies. It wasn't scary. I get there, and everything was so surreal, and I couldn't believe I was actually in prison. People were coming up to me, and they were being nice, and I thought, oh no, they want me to be their bitch or something. No, but it ends up they were just being nice, and I did that later on when new guys came in too, and people. It's a trip when a new guy gets in there, and you go up and you're friendly to him, and they say, oh no, what's going on? Why are you so friendly? Who is this guy? It doesn't happen like that in a camp or the lows that I hear. Now, if a guy comes up and he's friendly in a penitentiary, you better run. Better run. So I hope that answers your question. And I don't know if Vince is in the room, but I'll go answer your question anyways, Vince. And you'll catch this on the rerun. So Vince's question is, hey, Sean, always glad to see you go live. Great to see you go live. But here's his question. I have sentencing coming up. Is it better to do it in person or Zoom hearing? And is there really a difference? My answer is it is better to do it in person. And I will explain why. Because when you're on Zoom, when you're in person, the judge can see who you are. He can see your body language. He can feel your vibes. If they're good vibes, if they're bad vibes, the way you talk, your facial expressions, everything's right there, 3D, 4D, however you want to look at it. And it's real, and you're looking them in the eye, and it's face to face. And, on a Zoom, do you really know if the judge is looking at you? Is he paying attention to you? Does he got paperwork in front of him? Is he just kind of looking at the screen on the side of his eye and very kind of listening to you? In person, you get a chance to look at that judge eye to eye, and tell him what's going on in your heart and your soul and how you have, worked to change your life. And, you have to go do prison time, but you want to come out a better person. You want to change the way you've been living. This is where you explain to the judge that you're guilty, but you've been learning your lessons, and you're going to learn more lessons when you go to prison. And you want to tell them that you want to work on yourself while you're in prison, and you want to change, and you don't want to be back in this courtroom or prison ever again. And you need to explain that to the judge. And the best way to do that is in person. I just don't see how you can do it on a Zoom meeting. I really don't, so that's why I say, yeah, do it in person. So is there a difference? Yeah, I think there's a big difference. I got a few people in the room now, so I'm waiting on questions, guys. I'm out in my backyard, and I keep looking. I don't want, I got roommates and stuff coming up, and I don't know if somebody's going to walk in on me. I'll just shut this thing off. No. So, guys, I got a big trip coming up tomorrow. Going to New Mexico to go for this kind of in-person job. I guess you could call it a job interview, but I've already been offered the job for Wings for Life International. And if you've seen my videos, I don't know if you saw the one Wings for Life. So Wings for Life is a nonprofit organization that helps inmates coming out of prison. They emphasize on the families that are waiting for their loved ones to come out of prison. So a lot of times people go to prison, let's just say there's a family and the husband goes to prison. Could be the wife, but the husband goes to prison and he was the breadwinner. Now the wife's stuck at home with all the bills. Can't she cover the rent? She got kids, your kids can get bullied at school, especially with social media and all that. The wife's got to show up at work. Everybody knows her husband went to prison. Your family members will disown you. Your friends will run like the plague. When we go to prison, our family suffers too, and they go through a lot, and not just money-wise, emotional. You know what I mean? And the longer the sentence, the harder it is. And a lot of marriages don't last. If a guy's got 5 years or more, you're lucky if your wife is there when you get out. Most of the time, I'm going to say 90% of marriages fail when somebody goes to prison if you're doing a 5-year sentence or more. Now, I had a cellie. He did 8 years, and his wife was with him the whole time, visited him all the time. But he put a lot of work into holding that marriage together while he was in prison. Lots of letters and phone calls and lots of money to do all that. and because she had to come out from LA to visit him in Colorado, and it cost money to take a plane and get a hotel and see him and visit him and all that stuff. And somehow he held that marriage together, and he's been out a couple of years now, and they're still married. And as far as I know, things are slowly getting back together. But when you get out of prison, it's not going to be the same household that you're used to either. The wife has had to take over your role. You know what I mean? She's had to be the breadwinner. She's had to be the husband. She's had to be the father and the mother of her children and the breadwinner and everything else that goes with it. And all those roles that involved. And you show up and, I took all these programs in prison and I'm better now. And, and I found God and everything else. And I'm here to save the day. And no, save the day. You've been in prison for 5 years. They don't even need you no more. They've learned how to survive without you. So you need to remember that when you get out of prison. They've learned how to survive. They don't need you anymore. So, you know what I mean? And your role, whatever it was when you left, it's not there no more when you get back. They had to cover your ass. So a lot goes on in this Wings for Life International. The lady, AnnEdenfield Sweet is her whole name. And she even wrote a book, Family in Prison. I think it's called, I have to check. But she lost her husband. She had a husband that went to federal prison 20 years ago. And their marriage didn't last when he got out, but she went through hell. She lost her job because when she showed up at work and they found out her husband was in prison, they didn't want her working there anymore. And she worked for a church. I think she was a youth minister, and the church didn't want her. They didn't want her family coming there. You know what I mean? A lot of her family members didn't want nothing to do with her. Her neighbors were this and that, and her kids got bullied. And so she started this nonprofit called Wings for Life to help the families. And since then, she's been helping inmates as they come out. And this is out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And where I come in is she hasn't had anybody on her staff that's actually been to prison come out. And I guess I'm turning my life around too. And she wants me on board. She wants me to join. And she's been watching my videos and stuff. And there's a good friend of mine, Tom, who I did time with. He might come on here tonight, but you're going to meet him Monday or Tuesday. We're going to do a couple live shows on YouTube from Albuquerque. And Tom just got off his 3-year probation. So now he wanted to wait to get off probation before I came on here. And so he had been watching my videos, and he volunteers for Wings for Life. And he, I guess, turned Ann on my videos, and they've been watching them over the last month. She's been a guest on my channel. She does a town hall meeting on Mondays. I've been on her show. And so one thing led to another, and I don't know if this is God's direction for me to follow, guys, but I'm going to go help more inmates. And I got a job offer, so I'm going to check it out. Probation approved my travel request and everything, so I'll be there for a few days, and they got quite an itinerary for me. And enough about me for now. I see some people in the room. Let me say hi, answer your questions. We got Albie. Albie, how you doing, Albie? And Matthew's in the room. Matthew, good to see you again. Or not see you, Matthew, but see that you're in the room. So let me see here. Albie says, stay safe on your trip, my friend. Still waiting to hear from the U.S. Marshals. Yeah, those U.S. Marshals. They take the time, Albie. They do it. It's on it's their time, not yours. Matthew says, are you moving there tomorrow or just a business trip? Just a business trip. To go check it out and make my final decision. Final answer is, to go meet her staff and her interns and see her offices. And I got a whole bunch. I got to meet a lady that works for the Federal Probation Department named Teresa. Talk to her on the phone. She works, and the organization Wings for Life, they work hand in hand with corrections, probation, both federal and state. So a lot of people from the courts, and there's quite a few people I'm meeting there. Did an interview with Herman Delgado maybe 10 days ago. The video's on there. He runs Thresholds, and he helps put inmates back to work right when they get out. He even picks them up in his car the day they are getting released from prison. He personally goes and picks them up. He goes into the prisons and gets to know them before they get out, so it's not a stranger picking them up either. And so I'll be meeting with him and a few other guys, and Anna's letting me take my video equipment, and I'm going to film some behind the scenes of Wings for Life, and interview her interns and staff, and do some live shows. And I'm going to really be, I'll probably have a YouTube video out every day this next week. I'm going to even film it. Let me film the airport. This is a big deal. This is a big life change for me, man. Nobody else is knocking on my door, man. I'm a 57-year-old, convicted criminal, just a couple of years out of prison, man. What do I got to offer the world? And here's this lady knocking on my door. Well, we want you. So, okay. Okay. Must be something to it. Got more people in the room here, and I'll answer your questions. We got Rise over here, 305. Cartel Capo. Hey, guys. Let's see what you guys say. Rise over here says, were probation or parole requirements for those serving time in the camp reasonable? Well, you normally get 3 years. I don't know what you mean by reasonable. I have a no alcohol clause, a no drug clause. I can't. Some people can't even use computers and stuff like that. You can get searched anytime. My probation officer can show up at the door anytime, and he's done that. I've had 4 probation officers. I moved once to another county, but they've switched me for whatever reasons. And sometimes it makes you feel like this last one, sometimes, I really feel like I'm still a criminal, because they don't trust you. You're just out of prison, and they're just waiting for you to violate. Waiting to send you back. It'll be very, everything I do, like this travel pass, I had to get everything approved and all that. You can't go out of your jurisdiction. I can't talk to co-defendants. I can't talk to my fiance, my ex-fiance. Anyway, the feds split us up, and it's a good thing because we're on pretrial. I found a month after all this happened, she's already hooked up with another guy, and we were going to get married. So they did me a favor. Anyways, I'm still not allowed to talk. And she went to do prison time. But I can't talk to any of my friends that were co-defendants, nothing. If they check my Facebook or email to them and stuff, it's a violation. They send you back. Let's see. Cartel Capo says, looking at 33 to 41 months with RDAP. How long will I do? Let's do the math. So I don't know if you have to get in RDAP. I don't know what you've prepared. I don't know your RDAP if you know you're going to RDAP, because on your pre-sentence report, there's a section in there for drugs and alcohol, and that's got to be filled out with your drug and alcohol history. And I don't know if you watch my other videos, but let's just assume you're getting the RDAP to answer your question. So 33 to 41 months. So the magic number you want to get sentenced to is 37, not 33. And I'm going to tell you why. 37 months or more, you get a whole year off your sentence. You also get 6 months halfway house time. Sometimes they even give you more, and you would get 6 months off for your good time. So if you get 33 months or 34 months, 35 months, or even 36 months, they're only going to give you 9 months off your sentence. So, 33 would be okay, because 9 months, anyway, that might be better, but 37 is a good number to be sentenced to. So let's assume you get 37. All right. So you can take 6 months off right off the bat for your good time. That brings you down to 31 months. Now you'll get a year off your sentence for RDAP, right? So that's 12 months. And you'll get, 31 minus 12, do the math, is 19 months. Am I right? Yeah. And then you'll get 6 months halfway house. 19 minus 6 is 13. I think my math is right, guys. So 13 months. You'll be in and out on a 3-year sentence. You'll be in and out in 13 months, give or take. You might get more halfway house time. They're even giving more of that now. So, but basically a year, you're in and out. So that's what the RDAP. I know. And so I've heard of guys get 36 months, ask the judge for one more month because the RDAP gives you a year off, and maybe the judge will say, I appreciate your honesty. I'll give you 37 months, but normally they won't. But you could have your lawyer ask for 37 months. And since that's a number right in the middle, the prosecution, the DA, whatever, they don't really know. the numbers on RDAP. They just know it's a drug program that gives you time off, and they might have heard it's a year off. Or they don't really know that 36 months is 9 months off and 37 months is a year off. The prosecution, they're not up on those kinds of things. So if your lawyer says we'd like to ask for 37 months, that's right in the middle. The prosecution probably going to let that go. But 33 months would be okay too, because that's, the 37 minus the 3 months, because you only get 9 months off. But ask for 37, and then you only do a year in prison. So let's see. Next question. I love these questions, guys. Keep them coming. All right. So Rise over here says, that's good that Herman gives jobs to people straight out of prison. Yeah, Herman's a really good guy, man. Really good guy. Yeah, I'll be meeting with him, I think, Monday. They're taking me out to Starbucks. And so check out the interview with Herman. You can call Herman. His information's on underneath the video there, and he'll answer your phone. He'll answer the phone for you. Unfortunately, he's only out of New Mexico, but anybody getting out, or if you're from that area and you need a job when you get out and a place to live, he helps you with housing right from the gate, and he helps you before you even get out. It's like it's all set up for you. So, and that's what I'm going to be kind of doing with Wings International too. So Herman's a really good guy, man. He's also a professor at the university in Albuquerque. He's retired, but he has like twice a week he teaches a class. And Eric Smith, hey Eric, how we doing? Dan Dawood, Vince is back, and okay, let's start with Eric. I have a status conference court date next week, but have no idea what that actually is. So that's to check your stay. I'm assuming you're on pretrial. So while you're on pretrial, there's two different judges, or they're called magistrates in the federal system. But you're going to have two judges that you see. One is your pretrial magistrate or your pretrial judge, and that's who you're probably going to see for your status report. They just want to check on how you've been doing on your pretrial. Have you violated? You got a job? You don't have a job? Have you wandered off past? Do they have I don't know. Sometimes you have a curfew. Have pretrial might come and check out your house, and maybe they saw a bunch of alcohol and unpleasant environment, and they might say that the pretrial might say he needs to live somewhere else, Your Honor. We don't like where he's at. They're going to check. Maybe you've been doing great, and that's what you want to hear. The other judge you're going to see is going to be eventually your sentencing judge, but that's your case judge. So you have your pretrial magistrate and your case magistrate. So the status report is usually the pretrial judge. Next question. Dawood says, on supervised release, you have to have a job. What if you can't find one? Well, especially when the pandemic hit. I was on unemployment for a year, guys. A year because of the pandemic. So I didn't have a job. But they're going to push you to find one. They'll push you to find one. They just don't want you laying around. They want you doing something productive. But there's medical reasons why you can't work. And if you're over 65, you don't have to work. And if you're finding, it's up to your probation officer. It really is. You know what I mean? Some people are disabled. They can't work. Some people, you can't find a job. You can't find a job. That's all there is to it. They're not going to violate you if you can't find a job. But if you're not looking for a job, I suppose if you've got, all the money in the world that you can just lay around the house all day and wait for your probation to end, your probation officer might tolerate that too. But if you're 25 or 30 or 40 years old, and they're going to want you to go to work. They really are. But there's never heard of anybody being forced to go to work. Let's see here. What's the next one? Rise over here says, I heard stories about people going back to prison because of technical violations, which was not stated at the probation requirement. Happens a lot. So one thing is, I got this Chime card, and it's a debit card, right? Because I couldn't open up a regular bank account. A fraud alert comes up, and I want to check systems. So I got this debit card, Chime. Right? By the way, a little quick commercial. If you sign up for Chime, I got a link under there. As soon as you put $200 direct deposit, you'll get $100. Okay, so there's a link down there. But Chime's like a regular bank. And after I had it for 6 months, there's a credit builder card that they sent me. So I started using that. Then I got an offer for credit cards. Like Capital One came in, and it was only a $300 card. But I had to call my probation officer asking for permission because I got a big restitution I have to pay every month. And they don't like when you owe them money and you go get a credit card or you go buy a car or you spend anything more than $500, they get mad. So think of it when you owe your drug dealer money, like let's say you owe G-Force $500 for that half ounce, and he finds out, that you went T-Boy and just bought an 8-ball, and you owe me $500. They're pissed. Okay, so G-Force is gonna come violate you. So same thing with the federal government, man. You owe them money, and you're running tabs over here. I heard of guys going to casinos and getting violated for that. Yeah, just to go to casino. Yeah, so and that's something they don't usually mention. But the credit card thing, people have been violated for that and go back. And it's like, well, the card came in the mail. They just offered it to me. I didn't know I had to ask. Yeah, you got to ask. And if you don't have any restitution, you'd probably be okay. But check first. So there's all kinds of technicalities like that, Your ex-girlfriend comes over that you're not supposed to be talking to. Like in my case, if I run into a co-defendant and I don't report it, let's say I go to a grocery store, or AA meeting, and my one of my co-defendants happens to be there, and I say hello to him and stuff because and I need to call my probation officer and tell him what happened, and he'll probably tell me, well, don't go back to that meeting anymore. Thanks for telling me. But if I didn't say anything and they find out about it, it's a violation. All kinds of little technicalities like that. So you got to be very careful. Every move you make, they'll be watching you, just like that police song. You know what I mean? Okay, next question. Vince says, hey, Sean, had to finish dinner Zoom or not to Zoom sentencing? Yeah, Vince, well, I'll answer your question again. I waited for you. Let's see. Let me say hi to just a couple people. The traveling NP, he's on here. Eric, Cartel, Dollar, Cortez. I want to say hi to you guys. So, all right, guys, bear with me. I'm going to answer Vince's question again. So Vince wants to know, on sentencing day, when you talk to the judge, is it better to do it in person or on Zoom? My answer is in person, because there's nothing like being in person, for one. But it's all about being face-to-face with that judge, your body language. He can tell whether you're looking down at your shoes or you're going to look him straight in the eye, the tone of your voice, the vibes, your body language, just your personality comes out, your honesty, your realness. You can't get that on Zoom. I mean, you could try, but on Zoom, you don't even know if the judge is really looking at you. A lot of times they've got paperwork in front of them and they're just on the screen, and they're not going to give you their undivided attention, because it's really important what you say to that judge on sentencing day. Now, the only reason I would say to use Zoom is if you don't want to talk to the judge and you just want to read him a quick letter. Your Honor, I'm sorry for my charges. Please sentence me. Thank you. You don't want to talk because you're afraid. I know a couple guys like Gavin out there wrote him a letter to the judge. He doesn't want to talk to the judge because he's got some anger issues about the federal system, and he's got every right to be, but he's afraid he's going to mouth off and say the wrong thing to the judge and start blaming and pointing the finger and using this card and that card, and he's afraid that he'll put his foot in his mouth, and so for him, Zoom might be better. But normally I would say you want to do it in person, so you can give an honest, heartfelt answer, and you want to tell the judge, that you want to take accountability for your crimes. You want to admit that you're guilty, because you're there. You're guilty. You've already pled guilty. Now you're getting sentenced. You don't want to argue your case. You don't want to justify anything. Well, I only did this because I had 4 kids to feed. I'm 85 years old and I got cancer. Are you really going to sentence me, Judge? Look, all that's too late. Judge is going to say you should have thought about all that before you did these crimes. This is not the day for that. This is the day you want to convince the judge you're willing to change your life. You saw the error in your ways. You're trying to become a better person. You want to let them know the programs you're going to take in prison. Tell them a little bit about what you plan to do when you get out of prison. and you're going to look for work when you get out, and you got a family to support, and you want to be a father again to your children, and you want to do all these things, and you're going to work, take parenting classes and anger management classes and all these things while you're in prison, and you're going to prepare for reentry to the best of your ability, and you want to be a productive member of society again, and you have to convince the judge of that. And try to do it in 5 minutes or less. Don't talk for 20 minutes either. Don't ramble on like I do. But hope that answers your question, Vince. All right, next one. The traveling NP Mark Hill. Hey, man, I'm getting 9 months in a federal medical center due to health problems. Will they send me to home confinement at some point? Well, that's probably why they're sending you to the medical facility. I don't know how bad your medical conditions are. If they're so bad that's going to cost them a lot of money, yeah, they'll send you to home confinement. But it looks like they've made up their mind to send you to this medical facility. I got to warn you, man, the medical facilities are hellholes, man. They put all levels of criminals in there. The murderers, the rapists, the child molesters, they're all there. Hopefully, they separate you by floors. And you're not like in the same, corridor or, I would think they'd kind of do some of that. These are not the best medical. This is not Kaiser Hospital that you're going to. I really got to warn you. Yeah, as soon as you get there, I would apply for compassionate release due to medical circumstances. You can only apply for that once you're an inmate. You can't apply from the outside. And there's the CARES Act, too. Apply for that. You got to apply for these things once you get there. You can't do it now. If you have somebody on the outside to help you with the paperwork once you get there, and they can send it to, different judges and, and things like that, that all helps. But you're only you got a 9 month sentence. So you got to do 100% of your time, do 9 months. There's no good time. They might give you a month halfway house. They might. I'm not sure on a 9 month sentence. I know you don't get any good time. So, I wish you well, my friend, but it's this. People die in these medical centers from medical reasons. The medical care there is not that great. I don't know which one you're going to. I know there's one in Brooklyn, I think. There's one in Devon's, Massachusetts, because Jonathan Wynn is at a camp next to one. And he gets out Tuesday, guys. I was going to read you his letter from Core Links. I'll do that in a minute. He just sent me. He calls me all the time. He's getting out Tuesday. And he's going to come on here. If the halfway house will let him do the YouTube, I'll get him on next week, too. But, man, I'm very sorry you got to go to a medical center. They are not pleasant places to be, man. Hopefully they put you in a good ward, a good level. But, I'm very sorry to tell you that. Dawood says, can you take shower multiple times a day? You can take shower 20 times a day if you want. Showers are open all day and night. Yeah, even after 10 o'clock, the lights out thing, you can go take showers, go to the TV room. They got the foyer, little hallways and little rooms people hang out in, and TV rooms and computer rooms. And computers aren't on after like midnight, but people hang out in the rooms. They play poker in the hallways and all kinds of stuff. Take as many showers as you want. Yeah, but you better take one a day at least, because they'll get at you, man. Hygiene's very important in there, man. Very important. Eric Smith says, yes, I'm on pretrial. Okay. So, yeah, you're going to a pretrial status check. They just want to see what's going on. Status check. How you living? You working? You're not working? You know what I mean? Your drug test been clean, stuff like that, It's just a status check. I did one like every 3 months. No big deal. It's a big deal if you get something. It's a big deal if you're doing something wrong. Hopefully you're not. Cartel Capo says, I know you said there are no politics at a camp or low. I've heard otherwise. What's the truth behind that, seeing you have federal prison history? Okay, there's politics, but they're not dangerous politics. You know what I mean? They're not like in a penitentiary. Those politics get you killed. All right, but they don't ask for your paperwork to see if you snitched on people or if they don't allow child molesters in the camp anyways. But in a federal prison, yeah, they check your paperwork, and if you're a child molester, you're a dead man. But they don't allow them in a camp. Fortunately, there's quite a lot of them in the low securities. but nobody's checking your paperwork. You can talk to other races. You can sit at tables with other races if you're invited. You got to be a guest at their table, and nobody's going to say, "Oh, boy, we were sitting there with the Mexicans. Why were you talking to the blacks? We're going to kill you because of that." There's like no violent. There's some fights usually when you owe money for poker or gambling debts or drug debts or something. Yeah, and there's all kind of politics that go on, and there are some little cars, race cars, little groups of people, but they're like innocent, harmless ones. I mean, they're almost a joke. I mean, like, like a bunch. I don't know. There's nerd cars and stuff, but no, there's the Paisas run the prison, and they have their meetings, and nobody gets to go. I don't know what they talk about in those meetings. They lock down the TV room at night. I'll see 50 of them in the TV room, all sitting there, and they're shot callers lecturing them on something, and they're making a decision on somebody. So there's politics like that, but they're not violent politics. Although, like I said, people get beat up at camps. I'm going to say once a month somebody gets beat up at a camp. And they get beat up pretty bad, but they try to hit you below your face. They want to bruise your chest because they don't want the guards to see that, because then they're going to go around and look at everybody's fist and try to figure out who did it. So when they do beat you up, they try to not put marks on your face, although that happens. But I'm going to say once a month somebody gets beat up pretty bad. I've never seen anybody get shanked or killed. I hope that answers your question about the politics. And what's the next one? Rise over here says, it's a shame that America sends folks to prison for unpaid parking tickets or unpaid child support and fishing without license, not knowing if the person can afford to pay it or not. Prison for parking tickets? I think if you had a lot of them. Unpaid child support, that can happen. Yeah. The fish and game wardens, yeah, they take that shit seriously, man. I know they take that shit seriously. Yeah, I mean, I there was a guy that I did time with something. He was polluting the river, throwing some kind of chemicals from his kitchen into the river, and it wasn't drug chemicals. It was he ran an auto shop or something, and he was pouring oil in. Anyways, they gave him 5 years for that because he didn't want. Whenever he did engine, when he cleaned out engines and all the stuff that ran out of the engines and the radiators and all that kind of liquid stuff, he was pouring it down the sewer that ran into a river. And anyways, they gave him 5 years for that. So things like that you go to prison for. The parking tickets, not sure on that. I've seen people go to jail for parking tickets. I don't know about prison. Dawood says, where'd that go? Muslims, they have halal food in Florence. I'm thinking to go there. Yes, they do have halal, and they also have the kosher. And there's a good amount of Muslims there. I'm going to say 15 to 20. There's only like 400 inmates. Got a good friend, Salty, man. He's Muslim. Talk to him on the phone all the time. He will come on this channel if he ever figures out how to operate Zoom, because he's 50-something years old and he just can't get the Zoom to work on his phone. So he's a good man. And yeah, Muslims, I knew quite a few out there. They'll let you bring. You can. I don't know if you bring your own prayer mat, but you can have it sent in from your family, or they sell some. They have the religious services will let you buy a prayer mat, or you can have one mailed in, and they give you 5 times a day to prayer, no matter what job you have, where you're at doing that day. If you're working in the kitchen or out, doing landscape, you get to stop, I think, for half an hour, 5 times a day. They will make sure that you get to pray 5 times a day, and they have lots of services. You have to share the chapel with other religious services, though, but you'll get your time slots. I think every religion gets 3 time slots a week, and I think those are 2-hour time slots to have your services in there, and people will leave you alone. And Muslims are very much respected at Florence. Okay, I hope that answers your question. And John Donahue, hey John, how we doing? If you have medical conditions like diabetes and heart problems, are you treated or housed in a special unit? We had a lot of guys with diabetes because whenever I had to go to pill call for something like I'm on a high blood pressure medicine, and that they let me keep the medicine in my locker, but every month I got to go get a refill. So when I go to medical to get the refill, there's always 20 guys in line getting their diabetes. They make you your insulin, right? So you have to go to the window twice a day to get it, and they give you a little sandwich and things. Diabetics got to have like a cheese sandwich on hand and whatever. They gave you whatever that was. The food. I know you got to have some food handy in case you have a I don't know, the sugar drops. Anyways, yeah, they take care of the diabetics there, but the thing is they got to go stand in line twice a day to get that. And heart problems, they were pretty good on that. The doctors at the Florence camp I was at were kind of good on that. But any operations or surgeries or very severe medical conditions, they're going to want you to go to a medical prison. The like I was talking to the other guy, federal, what are they called? FCMs, Federal Correctional Medical Facility, like that. But you should be okay with diabetes, heart problems. Rise over here says, if you have mental health concerns in the federal camps, do they get their own special unit? No. Sorry. Mental health is something they don't even care. They'll throw you in the shoe. They're not good. Yeah, they don't want. Yeah, they don't really help mental ill. Although your lawyer can have you sent to a mental health prison, I don't know if you want to go to a place like that. Yeah, but they're pretty much you can take medication for it while you're there. There's guys doing that, but other than medication, I'm sorry, no special treatment on that I saw. Okay, what's next here? Dawood says, after plea deal, can the judge sentence lower than the plea deal? My plea deal is 48 to 57. Yeah, they do a downward spiral. I've seen them go as low as 2 years under the sentence, and they can go over to. They can go down. They won't go down too much, but I've seen a few guys this last year had like a 48 years, looking at 48 months and got 24. That's been happening a lot lately, and I'm not sure really why, but it's been happening. Maybe they're the virus, the COVID, and things like that. But yeah, you can definitely go under. It's definitely traveling NP Mark Hill, Rochester, Minnesota. Oh, Rochester, I got it. Rise over here says, I've heard stories of Tier 1 sex offenders, basically possession of CP, serving time at Club Fed. Is there any truth to that? No, unless they never got caught for it. But any sex offense on paper, I don't care if you were 16 and she was 17 or whatever, you know what I mean? Or you were 18 and she was 17. Even those light little sex offender kind of things, no, not at a camp. You do not get in there unless you're there for a different charge. If you're there for, selling meth, and they didn't catch the porn on your computer, but no, that's all low security and up. No, never seen any of those in the camp. Like I said, unless they slipped through the cracks and got different charges, you know what I mean? There was this one guy that was some kind of preacher, and we think he was a sex offender. He was there for fraud, taking he had some church and he was like not laundering money, but taking money from the church that he ran. It was some scam. He was there, and a lot of people said that he was a child molester. He might have been, and he sure seemed like one. I didn't like the guy. I know they put him to work with us at the ADX. He lasted 3 days, and the COs threw him out. The guy was weird. Anyway, so yeah, maybe they slipped through the cracks. That guy ended up getting his ass beat by a few different people because of his behavior. Yeah, I think they thought he was one. And then they shipped him off somewhere. Never saw him again. Okay, next one here. Cartel says, do you have to be 500 miles away from home with designation, or can you be sent or request further? Yeah, you can request. So if you don't ask them, if you don't make a request on sentence today, they will try to keep you within 500 miles. But let's say you want to do RDAP, or you want to do Unicor, that's Prison Industries. and not a lot of prisons have it. That's where you're going to work at a factory or something, or work on the farm, and they pay you $200-300 a month. And there's only so many prisons that have that program where you want to do solar. You want to do a program. Eric, thank you, Eric. Wow, super chat with Eric. Sorry to interrupt you, but wow, Eric just gave me a $25 super chat. God bless you, Eric. Thank you very much. Thank you. Back to your question. So I requested to go to Florence. I'm out of San Francisco, and none of the camps in California have RDAP. So I could have went to Sheridan in Oregon, but I wanted to go to Florence, Colorado, because I had a buddy out there in Colorado Springs, and I thought I was the best man at his wedding. And anyways, good friend of mine. I thought I'd go spend a week with him before I turn myself into prison. And I just picked Colorado sounded good. I'll go there. They got RDAP. Really, I didn't want to be near my house, but some people do. So some people request different locations because they have family out there. Maybe because of medical conditions, like go to Arizona because you need to be in that climate, for your respiratory system. There's lots of reasons why you request to go somewhere else, and they normally grant it. They normally will grant it. And like if you got the RDAP, there's only so many camps that have it. None in California. So yeah, and if you don't say anything, they keep you within 500 miles. Matthew says 11 people, 1 like. Oh yeah, what's up with that? Well, now it says 12 people with 8 likes. That's better. Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Please give Sean some likes. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Dawood says Oregon, Sheridan versus Colorado, Florence. Which one is better with RDAP? You think? Oh man, Florence, hands down. I even call up the RDAP coordinator. I've called her a couple times. Her name is Dr. Coulter Rodriguez, and she's the RDAP coordinator. She's got a PhD in psychology and all this. But I check in with her, and I tell her what's going on. I don't know if she's watching this channel, but all the RDAP, what are they called again? They're not counselors. They're called DTSs, drug treatment specialists. They were all great, man. Those were the best people, man. Really good people at RDAP. And it was kind of, I don't want to say easy, but some RDAPs are really strict. So, because some RDAPs in Sheridan, I heard, is like that. You take some food, salt and pepper, and a spoon out of the kitchen, and they find it in your locker. They come down. They're going to make you go up and stage in front of 100 people in RDAP and say that you took the spoon and the salt and pepper, but they can give you shots for it. They check your lockers a lot in Sheridan. They're very, very strict, and a lot of people don't make they get kicked out of the RDAP because they don't want to follow the rules. They don't want to comply. RDAP has a lot of silly things you do. You have to do skits and stuff. They made us do the Lion King. They made us all dress up in Disney costumes and dance around and sing Lion King songs and stuff. I'm telling you, did some silly stuff in RDAP. And if you're not willing to do that, you get kicked out, man. Yeah, I mean, really, we had to sing the Kumatata and all that, man. But we had fun. We made it fun. But yeah, man, they make you do some silly things because they're trying to break your character, right? And it's all in good fun. But it's stuff, little kids would do. But a lot of people don't want to be a little, they're not having it. They get kicked out of Florence, man. Florence, staff's great there. Even the correctional officers, most of them are good people. A lot of women run the camp. It's probably 70% women that run the camp there, but they're good women. Just respect them. Don't ever call them a bitch or anything like that. You're out of that camp. But they're good women there that run that camp, and I got nothing but respect for those people at Florence. I think Florence over Sheridan any day. And Eric, once again, thank you, Eric, so much for the super chat. Rise over here says, would you interview Matthew Cox, who served time for, I believe, mortgage fraud? Yeah, I watch Matt Cox all the time. I know he went to Coleman Low. Yeah, I've even asked him. A bunch of those guys, I've sent him comments, but they get hundreds of comments. I don't know if he's got time for me, doesn't care about me, doesn't even read my comments. He never answered me back. You know what I mean? I've left him at least 10 comments, and a couple of them I've asked him, yeah, if you can get Matt Cox to interview me or me interview him or whatever, yeah, definitely. Yes, have him call me. And definitely, yeah, that guy's a character, man. Darwin says, RDAP have to pass the test or you just take the lesson. Have to pass the test. There's lots of tests in RDAP. You have these final exams. You have three big ones. There's three phases to RDAP, 1, 2, and 3. And there's a big quiz and test at the end of every phase. I mean, like 100 questions, and they're not multiple choice. They're fill in the blanks. And if you don't study and read all the books they give you and everything else, yeah, you fail. Usually, what they won't fail you from RDAP. They'll make you start that whole phase over again and give you another chance. And and you only got so much time left before you go home. So, yeah, RDAP can be hard. There's a lot of homework in RDAP. I'm not sure if that's what you mean by pass the test or just take the lesson. But RDAP lasts about 4 hours a day. It takes 9 months. It's 500 hours. But yeah, let's see what else. Oh, I think I answered every question. Let me see here. Okay. Wow, it's almost been an hour. We got something else here. More questions. Loving it. Rise over here says, that's brutal. Fill in the blanks for the RDAP test. 100 questions. Yeah, you got to study, man. You got to study. And there's a lot of writing, and you got to keep a journal. In the morning, there's a thing called community. For the first hour, there's about 100 people in every RDAP class, but then they break you into smaller groups. But in the morning, everybody's got to check in with community, and you got to go up on the microphone and say, "Hey, I'm Sean. I got 14 days in RDAP," and you got to introduce yourself on a microphone. And sometimes you got to read the homework in front of everybody else. They're going to have you read newspaper reports and the news and current events, read the menu of the prison, and if you get caught with like walking on the rocks or walking in the daytime with your shirt untucked and things like that, they give you these little, they're called pull-ups. So you got to go up in front of everybody, say, yeah, I got caught walking on the rocks, and to change this, I'm going to pay more attention to my, to my actions from now on. And you got to do at least 3 of those every phase. And then you also have to pull up 3 people. So you got to tell on people. And so we did it. We would all meet up and say, hey, can I pull you up on Tuesday? And they go, for what? I'll pull you up for, not turning off the light when you left the bathroom. Right. And so then we do this ahead of time. We're not supposed to, but they know. But yeah, basically you got to, they call hold somebody else accountable for their actions. And, I mean, once in a while you'd see somebody, pull somebody up for, like stealing chicken out of the kitchen or something. And then, that guy can get beat up by the other RDAP guy. So I don't even want to call it telling on each other, but they say holding each other accountable. So we would pre-plan this, and then we did stuff, like leaving when you shaved in the morning, you left all your hairs in the sink and you didn't clean it up. Then you got to go on stage, and she goes, yeah, Johnny was right. Last week I was shaving. I was in a hurry. I left hairs in the sink. From now on, I'll make sure that I look down at the sink and I'll clean it up every time, and I'm going to change my actions from here on. And you have to do this in front of 100 people. That's kind of what RDAP's about. So a lot of guys can't handle that, man. They can't handle that. And I'm not pulling nobody up, and nobody's going to pull me up, and I'm not getting up there. And a lot of guys can't do it. It's just against their nature, And then when you tell them you got to dress up as a lion and sing and sing Lion King songs, or what was the other Disney one? We know we had to do Aladdin. You know what I mean? And everybody had to participate. And they had, the RDAP has all these arts and crafts and costumes you got to wear, and you got to act silly. Really. So a lot of guys are, hell no, I ain't doing that shit. But you know what I mean? I thought it was fun. But they play a game every day, and sometimes it's a trivia game and board game. Every day you got to play a game for an hour or half hour. Different games you come up with. I came up with trivia games, like Family Feud, and what was the other one I used to do? I did Star Trek trivia one day because there was a bunch of us Trekkies in there, and we had this big quiz board, and questions and answers, and so you gotta, and you're gonna have to come. Everybody has to pick a. You got to do it at least once every phase. You got to create a game for everybody to participate and play. Another one I did was Family Feud. I did TV show trivia. So you had to name like 5 characters on Good Times and 5 characters on, I don't know, The Love Boat or something. I did this classic TV trivia game, and I liked it. But some guys just, they're not people. Some people don't have that creative, that nature. Me, I thought it was great. I loved it, but that's me. So let's see what else we got here. That's brutal. Fill in the. Oh, we got the 100 questions. Okay. Darwood says, after plea deal, can the judge give you less than your plea deal? Yeah, I think you already asked me that. Yeah, he sure can. Like I said, normally I haven't heard more than like 2 years less, but they can give you probation. Harvey Talks is in the room. He says, hey, everyone, you guys. Oh, that's right, man. Harvey, you guys got to watch Harvey Talks Prison channel. Check out Harvey's channel, guys. Check out. Thank you, Harvey, for coming on here, man. I was going to mention your channel earlier. I'm sorry I didn't, but I'm mentioning it now. Harvey Talks Prison. Guys, check out his channel, man. He's growing like wildfire. You want to hear what prison's really like? Harvey knows how to tell it. He does it like with honesty and humbleness, and he's real. Harvey got a way of storytelling that brings you right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to check out Harvey's channel, Harvey Talks Prison, guys. He needs the watch hour so he can get monetized, guys. So watch his video all the way through. He's got a good amount of videos, Harvey. I think he got maybe 40 videos out there now. He's a new channel, but he's already got 1,000 subscribers and growing. He's going to beat me. But Harvey's, man, check out his channel. And Rise over here says, hi, Harvey. He's saying, hi, Harvey. Harvey says, hi, Rise, and thanks, man. Yep. Harvey is the man. Yeah. Hey, Harvey, I just watched your video on nicknames. And Harvey was I left Harvey a comment. I had a nickname called Ice Pick, but they said it as a joke because like it was the opposite of what I am. Ice Pick would be a guy that's going to come shank you. It was like an opposite nickname. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like the topic you did, nicknames. We had people, we had Boston, we had Vegas, we had New York, all those guys. Chewy, that's the Mexicans' names. I think if your name's Jesus, the nickname for that is Chewy. It's not Jesus, or it's Chewy. But yeah, a lot of nicknames. When you get to prison, they'll give you a nickname. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Harvey, did you have a nickname, Harvey? I was watching your video. I didn't catch if you had a nickname. Maybe you did. Rise over here says, can you choose to pay the whole fine for tax fraud instead of serving time in prison? They'd like you to pay that, and they're still going to send you to prison, man. See, they're still going to punish you for the crime. But if you paid off the whole fine and stuff, you might end up even getting probation. When you say tax fraud, is it personal tax fraud? Me, I did false tax return fraud, for other people. So I was going to prison, even if people I got money for they got a refund. I took 20% of their refund, but they're making me pay everybody's back, so they all get to keep the money, their refunds they got, and I have to pay it back. So if I was somehow to pay all that back, the money I never had that they got, they still would have sent me to prison. Harvey says, yeah, I've heard all kinds. Harvey comes up with some good topics, man. If I can't think of a topic, Harvey, I'll look at your older videos. I don't want to maybe I'll borrow. Harvey's got good topics though. Christopher is in the room. He says, hey Sean, thanks for the phone call last week. I finally found out I'll be going to Texarkana November 1st, 24-month sentence. I got to call and figure out if it's camp or a low. My PO didn't know. Really? Oh, your PO didn't know. Your PO? Probation officer? You shouldn't even... Oh, yeah, you have a probation officer at the end there that does your pre-sentence report. Yeah, you can go on the BOP website, man. Let me see. I can't show it for you on the screen here, but let me pull it up. I'm going to look real quick here. BOP... Texarkana. So I'm going to BOP. I'm on there now. I know you guys can't see it. List of facilities. Texarkana, FCI, I'm pulling it up, and I'm going to tell you right now, it is a low-security federal correctional institution with an adjacent minimum security satellite camp. Did you catch all that? So that's good news. It's a low and a camp, and there's no medium or no penitentiary there. So you're going to one or the other, you're going to be safe. I hope you get the camp. Yeah, let me see Texarkana. What else it says? There's 1,085 inmates there, 925 inmates at the FCI, and 161 inmates at the camp. So they say FCI. That means a federal correctional institute, but this is a low security federal correctional institute. So FCI does not necessarily mean it's a medium facility. This is a low security federal correctional institution with an adjacent minimum security satellite camp. That's a lot of words. Normally they say minimum security camp, satellite camp, adjacent satellite camp. They're saying minimum security satellite camp. So so there's no boy, they're really covering their ass there. So I hope you go to the camp, and it looks like it's a little camp, and 171 inmates. So they're not going to have a lot of programs at that camp. But you got a 24-month sentence. I don't know if you got. I can't remember if you got the RDAP or not. I know we talked. But now it's a low and a camp. So either way, you're going to be safe. I hope you get the camp. We can go over your offense, your points. I want to say your not your offense level points, but your custody level points. You need 11 points or less to go to a camp. If you go to my homepage under videos, actually, I got a calculator underneath. Even this video will have a calculator thing underneath your way to calculate your custody level points. It's going to be based on your criminal history, your education, your age, things like that. And you get 2 points for this, 4 points for that, and then you can figure out whether you got less than 11 points. Or you can watch a couple of videos I did, or we can talk again, and I can get the questions in front of me and ask them to you and do the math and write it down. So there's a lot of ways you can find out if you're going to a camp. A lot of it has to do with your criminal history, your category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. The higher the criminal history, the more points you get. Harvey says, yes, the Mexicans called me Alman. Okay. Alman or Alman? Ailman, maybe. All right. Christopher says, I specifically asked for RDAP, so hopefully it's a camp because the low doesn't have RDAP. Okay, you specifically asked for RDAP? I know we talked about getting RDAP. I mean, they don't care if you asked for it, but it's got to be in your pre-sentence report. And I think we covered all that. Pretty sure. So yeah, if the low doesn't have it, you're going to the camp. That's all good. And Al, are you gay? No, I'm not gay. Fuck no. Fuck you. No, sorry, but no. Well, whatever. You asked and I'm answering. Hell no. Not at all. Harvey talks prison. Go, guys. Oh, got to go, guys. All right, Harvey. Great, man. Take care. And Zephield's in the room. Hey, I remember. Yes, Zephiel. Good to see you again. It's funny how nobody seems to know anything when it comes to prison systems. Yeah, it's complicated. Rise over here says, up here in Canada, we don't have club bed. It's only provincial prisons. Federal minimum, federal medium, and federal maximum prisons. Provincial prisons are medium and maximum. I thought I saw a documentary about Canadian prisons, and there was like a hotel type prison. Some of these guys had lavish cells and stuff. Maybe that was Sweden or some European one. But what do you think's worse, Canadian prisons or American prisons? And then, I don't know, when you say Canada, do you have federal prisons? And then there's there province, within the province, is there two different types? Here we have state prisons and federal prisons. I don't know how Canada does. Zephiel says, Ali, I quit. Your mom didn't think so. Ali, your mom didn't think so. Okay. Not sure what that means. All All right. Rise over here says provincial prisons in Canada is reserved for those serving 2 years or less. Federal prisons in Canada are reserved for those serving more than 2 years. Oh, so provincial is probably where you want to be. Zephiel says, or Ali says, your mom too. All right, guys, because she is no tight anymore. All right, man. Don't be fighting, guys. Rise over here says tax evasion is Canada is up to 2 years prison sentence and fine up to 200% of tax evasion. Wow. All right, turn the light up. Yeah, I'm still smoking, guys. So one thing I haven't quit, even smoked in prison. So here's a little insider for you guys that smoking or going to prison. When you go to the camps, like I said, there's no fences, so you don't need a guard to sneak anything in. People leave stuff on the side of the road. A pack of Marlboros in a camp costs you about $40 for a pack. That's not bad. The cigarette itself, $2 or $3. Tunas. Used to get a Marlboro for 2 tunas. A tuna cost $1.45. If I gave him 2 tunas, I'd get 1 Marlboro. Sometimes for 3 tunas, I'd get 2 cigarettes. I would never buy the whole pack because there's nowhere to hide it. Because you get caught with a whole pack, that can be trouble. I get caught smoking. They make me pull weed for 2 weeks. Or sometimes they made us do push-ups, or sometimes they gave us extra duty or cleaning the bathrooms. Once in a while, there was an asshole guard that came over from the penitentiary to get some overtime at the camp, and he'd send you to the shoe, but we knew when that guy was working. So, yeah, you can smoke in the camps, but, don't do it in the daytime when it's full of staff members. But after 4, they all go home, and there's a smoking bathroom in every building, and 20, 30, 40 guys will be in that bathroom smoking. And they're really cheap. Like I said, $2-3 a cigarette, $40 for a pack. When they do shakedowns and they catch all the cigarettes and clean them up, a pack can go up to $100 for a pack. 2 weeks later, it goes down to 80, goes down to 60, and then it's back to $40. I seen they had so many cigarettes one time, $20 for a pack of Marlboro. I couldn't resist. This one guy, I said, I'll take the pack. So I had to find a place to hide them. You know what I mean? And we have the windows in our cubicles, and there's a little handle for the window to roll up, but the windows are sealed. They're welded shut. You can't open the windows. But the little handrail, you could slide a cigarette right in there, and that's where I hide mine. But out in the courtyard where all the classrooms are and stuff, there's a couple bathrooms that the public can use. They're just open bathrooms. When you walk in there, they had these brick walls inside, right? And like blocks of cement block walls, and they had holes in them, right? And you could reach in there, and there was hiding spots, but like, who in their right mind would hide anything here? Because as soon as you open it around, you can see all these holes in the walls. Nobody would be stupid enough to hide something up in there. That's when I thought, yeah, that's what everybody says. Nobody would be stupid enough to hide anything in there. Therefore, that's where I'll hide it, because nobody will check, because they think, who would be stupid enough to hide something here? I'm not going to bother looking to see if anybody hid anything there. And I hid my pack of cigarettes there, and nobody ever looked. Smart? I don't know, but that's what I did. That's just a little insider. All right, let me see what we got going here. Talking about Canadian prisons and stuff. All righty. Where was I? Well, if you're, Zephiel's talking back and forth with this guy. Rise over here says Canadian prisons get violent if you don't mind your own business, or the gang. Yeah, well, the penitentiaries can get very violent out here in state prisons and federal. But I went to a camp, and a lot of the guys. So we got 4 levels of federal prisons: 1, 2, 3, and 4, basically. And 1 and 2 are relatively non-violent. 3 and 4 are violent. So for smoking is big cash when you add it up. So in a penitentiary, it's I used to ask the guys that work their way down from the medium to penitentiary, and even the lows, how much do you guys have cigarettes over there? The guys from the low said they have cigarettes, but they were $5 or $10 for one. Guys from the medium said, yeah, it's $10 for a cigarette. But we don't sell you cigarettes. We take the cigarette, we unroll it, and we roll it up into 3. And the guys from the penitentiary said, it's $20 for a cigarette if somebody will sell you one, because they're so hard to get in there. Nobody, if they get one, they ain't selling it. They're smoking it. And they undo it and make 3 or 4 rollies out of it. The camp's really the only place you get these people actually smoke the whole cigarette. But you can make a lot of money on cigarettes in those mediums and penitentiaries if you got a way to get them in there. But they're all over the camp. They're so easy to get. And guards, the COs leave butts all over the outside of the camp. You can come in and out the front door, the parking lot where they park, and all the warehouses people work at, and you can walk around and you can check the ashtrays. They have smoking areas for the staff. And a lot of guys that do landscape and all that, they're over there and they grab them all out of the ashtray and they bring them back. So, yeah, it's really easy to get. Yeah, nothing nobody doesn't know. Rise over here says, even sex offenders and snitches get assaulted and murdered in Canadian prisons. Provincial prisons in Canada are worse because people punk you over food and random assaults and murders. Sounds like the same kind of shit here. Yeah. Sex offenders, unless they put them in a PC unit or something, they're dead meat, man. They're dead meat, man. I don't like sex offenders. I'm not going to get into a rant over there, but I think there should be public hangings for sex offenders. First, you cut off their dick, and then you hang them in front of public. And that's it. That's the only sentence you get. There's no 5 or 10 year probation. No. Cut their dick off and hang them in public. Okay, now YouTube's going to shut my channel down. Rise over here says, they banned smoking in Canadian prisons. Oh, I know some countries you can still smoke, like, legally. And got a bunch of Chinese writing on here. Okay, I don't speak or read Chinese, but yeah, so need a moderator to ban troll spamming. Well, if I'm getting that popular, yeah. Right now I don't really care about trolls, but I shouldn't say that because now they'll troll me. Anyways, guys, it's been over an hour. I gotta get going. I still gotta pack. I'm going to New Mexico, like I said, tomorrow for a week to check out this job offer for the Wings for Life International. Go help more inmates getting out of prison and work for this nonprofit. I still got to pack. Sun's starting to go down, guys. So I need to end this video, but watch all week. I'm going to be putting stuff up on YouTube all week long. Doing some interviews with people from Wings, my buddy Tom that I did time with. We're going to go live together and from Albuquerque, answer your questions. And Tom did 5 years, I think, some kind of real estate fraud, land development stuff. White collar guy, good dude. You'll meet him. And he just got off probation. And anyways, Christopher says, good luck with your trip, brother. Yep, you bet, guys. Thanks, man. Yep. Since your federal probation allows you to go. Yeah. Well, I had to get a travel pass. I got it all approved by the probation officer and everything. Yeah. So I did it by the book. Yep. All right, guys. Have a good night, man. See you in the next video. Don't forget Harvey Talks Prison and another channel, Fed Phoenix. Check her channel out too. Okay. Thanks, guys.